Hello everyone, welcome along to another blues lesson. John here, and I thought I'd make a little video on the steps you need to do to become a good blues player, because I've got a little blues forum on my Facebook page, and lots of people joining and saying, you know, they're just starting and I hope they can get some ideas from it. And I was thinking it's very daunting when you start, because there's loads of videos, you know, on YouTube and all over the web giving you some great information, but sometimes if you don't know what you need to learn, you know, it's very scary. So I thought what I'd do is I put together several steps, which you can see on the screen here, which if you follow these steps, you'll be, you know, a good guitar player or a good blues player. It takes a bit of time, obviously, but these are the ideas, and this is what we'll cover over several, you know, kind of weeks of lessons. I'll do a lesson every week or every couple of days, and you can go over these things, and once you know them all, then you're trying to combine them all in your playing. So the first thing I would say is, if you learn the notes, it really helps. So if you know it's a blues in A and you know where your A note is, it really helps, because you know straight away there's my A note, and when it goes to a D chord, you know where they are. So that's really good. All right, so that's the first thing we'll cover. Second thing is obviously the pentatonic scale, but you've got to know your pentatonic scale everywhere. So you may know this one, shape 1, but then learn shape 2, shape 3, shape 4, and shape 5. So you need to know that everywhere. That's really good. So that gets you up and down the neck, and then you know your notes as well. Then the blues scale in all the positions too. Alright, so the blues scale, that's really good. Arpeggios are really useful too. Arpeggios are where you're playing the notes from the chord. So say for example in a blues you were playing an A7 chord, you'd have the notes from A7. When you play a D, you play the notes from D. When you play an E, you play the notes from E. All right, so they're always very useful to learn the arpeggios. All right, then you've got sixes. Sixes sound like this. Kind of a nice kind of bluesy sound. You hear this one a lot. That's a cool sound. So sixes, really good to learn too. So you can see we're building up a lot of, you know, information now to start adding to your playing, you know. Okay, next thing is double stops. Instead of playing single notes, you're playing 2 notes at the same time. So you've got some double stops, they're called 2 notes at the same time, which is really good. Chromatics, they're a cool thing to use. Say for example you have your pentatonic scale for U shape 2. You could add some notes in between to make it sound a bit better. Let me do that for you. So you're now adding notes in between the scale. That all sounds good to kind of glue it all together. Following changes, that's kind of arpeggios. That's where, you know, if there's an A chord, you'd play an A arpeggio. When it's a D chord, you play a D7 arpeggio, and you're following the chords. It's a bit jazzy, that. So that's another good one. And then finally mixing major and minor pentatonics. That always sounds great. And also adding some light and shade in your playing. Light and shade, what I'm talking about there is when you speak, you don't speak at one level, you kind of play in the same way. So if we had a phrase, let's say, now I played it all like one level, but if we, so you can vary how loud and soft you play. That sounds good. And then of course, once you've learned all of those things, what you want to start to try and do is add them all together in a solo. So what I'll do now is let me give you a little demonstration of all these things. I kind of talk over the top and say what I'm doing. I might need to go a couple of times around with the backing track because it might run out, but I'll just give you an example of how you can start using those things, putting all together. And then what we'll start with in another video is the notes on the guitar. All right, so let's have a look at how a couple of these ideas might sound. All right, so let's start with the notes. This is a blues in A. So if I play an A note, it will sound good. There's a D. And now pentatonic, shape 1. Shape 2. Shape 3, shape 4, shape 5, and then you could have a little blues scale. Alright, and now let's add some arpeggios next time. So that's 3 things we've done. We've done the notes, pentatonic scale, we've done a bit of blues scale. Here's some arpeggios. Coming up, all right, so we'll start with a arpeggio in A, and I'll follow them. Now we're on a D, now we're going back to D arpeggio. Back to an arpeggio in A. And we've got an E arpeggio. A. Alright, so that's an arpeggio in A. Let's do some 6 next, see how they sound. I'll combine some 6 and some double stops, see what you think of this one. So here we go. Let's start with some double stop ideas. That was some 6s there. With some double stops. What if we add some chromatics? So there's some chromatics there. And so what we can do this next time is let's try and combine all of these kind of ideas, kind of notes, pentatonic shapes, and everything together. So let's see what we have. Let's start with an A note and some pentatonic. Finish on an A, D, arpeggio. Let's have some blues scale, I think. Arpeggios, double stops. Some 6s. Major and minor together. And a bit of light and shade. There we go. There's a couple of ideas kind of all together. So what we'll do over the course of these lessons is we'll try and put all these ideas together. I'll show you how they all work and how you can use them. So hope that helps. See you in the next video, which will be the notes, which I shall put up in a second.